Regional English Language Office. Sorry. So hello again, everybody, and good evening. I'm so glad you're here. It's wonderful to meet you. This project is funded by the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, and actually, I should make a correction. It's the Regional English Language Office for Russia. So this is your office. I'm physically located in Tallinn, Estonia, but you are my mission. So we work with teachers and learners in Russia, and it is the Russia office. My name is Jennifer Euler. I've met many of you, many of the coaches, as well as many of the participants in the past. My background is as an English language teacher and teacher educator myself. And because of that, I'm very dedicated to this work of joining people together to find mutual understanding through language learning. And I think you know best, because all of you are not only teachers, you're teacher leaders, that language is not only a window, but it's also a door to new worlds, to communicating with different people, to connecting with information, opportunities, travel that we've already talked about. And I know that this journey that you'll be on with Tsvetnik is going to be really wonderful. We've been working with Katie and the group at the International Women's Resource Center for about 1.5 years now on various projects, including Molodets and Tsvetnik. And the intention of this program is to reach teachers where they are. You have been selected because you're extra special. We see in you the potential to lead and to share in your communities, to essentially be a network for other teachers to learn about various teaching techniques, ways of looking at the world and finding resources for teaching and learning English. One of the best things about being an English language teacher is that we're never finished learning, and there are always new resources and ideas popping up. So maintaining a currency as a language teaching professional is very important. And I think as representatives from very diverse parts of Russia, you'll have a chance to share with your schools, with other teachers in your community, and maybe even with teachers' organizations or other networks that you're involved in. I'm really excited because of the way that this program has been structured over about 7 months' time, in which you can build a community of practice with each other. Some of you probably know each other because you're alumni of programs. I know many of you and recognize your names and your faces, but you have strengths that you can share with each other, and you'll build upon those together with the coaches who've also been very, very carefully selected. They are some of the most interesting, compassionate, and connected professionals in the United States on international education, and you'll have a chance to learn and grow alongside each other and with them. I love the images that Katie and her team have produced for this particular program, being a flower bed where you're going to be watered. We're going to throw some sunshine on you and give you a chance to flower and to be beautiful together. So on behalf of the Regional English Language Office and the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, I want to say congratulations. Please be in touch. There are many other resources available to you, and I always love to hear from you if there are things you like or things that you wish could be a little bit different. If you tell us about them, I'm very, very open to receiving that feedback. So enjoy your time today with Katie. I'm going to stick around for a little while, and don't hesitate to be in touch if you have anything that you would like to communicate at all. So thank you, and back to you, Katie.
Great, thank you so much. So as Jennifer mentioned, I work with International Women's Resource Center. This is the organization that is creating and presenting these materials along with Jennifer and her office. We are a nonprofit based in California, and we create educational materials and educational programming for refugee and immigrant women in the US. But we also do a lot of different projects abroad, and we do a lot of materials development for English language learning. So quite a few different hats, but it's a really fun organization, and I'm excited to introduce you all to it more as we go through the next few months together. And then a little introduction about me. So my name is Katie, and I'm from North Carolina, as I mentioned, and I think for their next meeting, I will make a little map of where all the coaches are from and then where y'all are from. But I'm from a very rural area in North Carolina. This is the view of my hometown. And you can see there's not really a town there. It's just mountains, but it's a very beautiful area. I have yeah, Caroline saying nice view. Maybe it looks familiar to you, Caroline, depending on which side of Tennessee you're from. Um, so I have a background in curriculum and instruction and a background in refugee protection, and I've been teaching for about 15 years. And I'm just so excited to get started with y'all. I keep saying that, but I'm really excited about this project. So you can reach out to me with any questions, concerns, thoughts, comments through the whole process of the next few months that we'll be together. I have a whole team with me that you'll be possibly hearing from at different points in the different meetings that we'll have. But for now, you're meeting me. Whoops. Okay, so I want to spend a few minutes in breakout rooms so you all can talk to each other in smaller groups. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself to one another with your name, your region, and your job, what you do within education. And then also if you could note which of these animals represents you. This is something I did with a group of my students recently, and I just loved it because it was really neat to see their interpretations of the animals. They did such a great job of being really creative. So, for example, this duck in the top corner, one of the students said, "Oh, I'm this duck because I'm reaching for my goals," because he was seeing the duck as reaching for food. But someone else said, "No, I'm this duck because I'm tired and I want to put my head under the water." So they saw it completely differently. So I'm just curious to see how you interpret these photos and which one you think represents you. If you want to take a screenshot or think about which one you will choose, it will be helpful in the breakout rooms. And I'm just going to put you in random rooms. I'm going to put 5 people in each room. And we'll do about 10 minutes and then come back together. Oh, where's my little... Okay, and here we go.
Have I clicked somewhere incorrectly?
Um,
No?
let's
Okay.
see.
I'll
You should have
try.
a little button that will send you.
Yeah,
I
I
can move
will.
you. All right, everybody's coming back. So what animals did you choose? Anyone want to share?
I chose two. The
Two?
duck at first, yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then the giraffe. So when I meet new people, I'm shy at first and I hide, but when I get a little bit more comfortable, I become the giraffe who is ready to reach for the stars, to take opportunities, take the chances. Yeah.
Nice.
I chose a lion.
Yeah,
Yes.
because he's sleepy or because he's fierce?
No, because I'm always trying to reach all my goals and to fight for my staff or to protect my staff and to protect all my students. So, like a lion.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Anyone else?
I've chosen an octopus because it has so many tentacles, so it can deal with so many things at the same time. So that's exactly how I feel at the moment.
Yeah.
Taking care of different things where I have to be present, like, yeah, playing different roles in my life.
Perfect. Yeah. Certainly as teachers, we're always needing 8 arms and wearing a lot of hats. Great. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what Tsvetnik is. So Tsvetnik as a whole has 3 components. We have the training of trainers sessions, we have coaching sessions, and we have a community of practice. So I'll talk a little bit more about each of these. So the first is the training of trainers, or TOTs for short. So I've sent you all the schedule of the next 7 TOTs. So essentially, it will be a training for you on a certain topic, but you will be given the PowerPoint, a facilitator's guide, a script, the handouts, videos if needed, all of the components to then facilitate the training yourself if you chose to. So if you wanted to repeat the training with the teachers in your context or at a local conference, you could either use the materials as they were given to you, or you can take everything that we've given you, this training kit, and you can edit it and make it your own. You can make it shorter, you could make it more involved, you can make it more customized to your context, but the idea is that we train you and then you train others. So those will be the TOTs. We will have 7 of those. Again, to receive the certificate, you need to attend 6 of the 7 training of trainers. And there is there's an additional component where, well, actually, I'll save that information for later. So we have 7 upcoming, and you should attend at least 6. If you need to miss more than that, you can let me know and we can work something out, because I will be recording them and I'll have all the materials for you to review. But hopefully the TOTs can result in improved teaching skills, increased confidence, stronger school culture, professional growth, and student outcomes. Some of the topics maybe you're already an expert in, maybe you already are really familiar with them, and that's great. You can share that information with the group during the TOT, or that would make your trainings even stronger if you chose to take these materials and train more people. Or maybe some of the topics are completely new to you, which is great too. Like, we're gonna all work on this together, and it's okay if it's a brand new topic for you or something that you've researched and you know backwards and forwards. So these are the next 7, as I've mentioned. These are the topics. They'll always be at this time, so 6 a.m. for me, afternoon for most of you. So the next one will be February 1st. So you have a little bit of a break for the holidays there. So we're going to do growth mindset and motivation. I really like a theme, like making a fun theme for the training, so they all have some fun twist. So that training is going to be an adventure map that our graphic designers created, some really fun stuff for us to look at together. The second one is content and language integrated learning, or CLIL. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with this, but we'll have some fun with it. It won't be so research-based. And then gamification in English language classes, project-based learning, inclusive education and self-awareness, thinking about diversity and equity in education. And then digital media literacy and critical thinking skills. And then lastly, adding authentic American cultural content. And I'm very excited for that one. Let's see. So I'm curious which of these you are most looking forward to. So I'm going to put a poll up here. I think I just gave you the answers. 1 second. Okay, you see the poll? No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw it, but it disappeared. No, yeah, we
Okay,
can see.
perfect. All right. About half of you responded, a couple more seconds. All right. So looks like growth mindset is the winner. So that's great because it's the first one. So we'll start off on a high note. It's like they all had votes except for inclusive education, which I think is going to be a really interesting one. So we'll see how that goes. All right, great.
It was very hard to pick just one.
Yeah, good. It's good to hear. Okay. So I've sent you all of those registration links and dates. So make sure you're marking your calendars. And we'll be kicking off with all of these after you have a nice holiday break. After each TOT, I will be posting again the recording, the PowerPoint, the handouts, the facilitator's guide, the script, any other resources needed to duplicate the training. They'll all be posted here. So this is just a screenshot of the first three. On the Molodets website, there's a Tsvetnik tab, and that's where we will keep a library of all of the training materials. So, or training of trainers, the TOT materials. So you'll be able to access those anytime and download them. They'll all be, all the materials will be there, but they'll all be fully editable so that you can edit them for your own context. If you decide to duplicate these trainings or create similar trainings for your local context. So that link is in the chat. A kid looking forward to an adventure. Yeah, that's the idea. I try to really make trainings fun. I love, again, a theme. So I always try to come up with a fun theme for any training. And then we have a great graphic designer who listens to all of my crazy ideas and makes them a reality. So we have some fun stuff to look forward to. Okay. After we complete the 7 TOTs, there's going to be a small assignment. It's a capstone where you will write whatever your plan is for all of the information that you practiced during the TOTs. So I will email this document to you today. It's just 2 pages, essentially a worksheet that walks you through some prompts asking how you'll use the material. So maybe you'll say, 6 of these are not interesting for me, but I'm really interested in growth mindset, and I'm going to teach my team at my university about growth mindset. Or maybe you'll say, I love all 7 of these, and I have a social media platform, and I'm going to turn them into social media posts that are seen throughout Russia. Or 2 of them are interesting, and maybe I'll edit them and present them at NATE. Or there's any option that works for your context. We're just curious what you will do with all of the materials. We want to make sure that we are supporting if you need any assistance with disseminating or cascading or sharing any of the information you learned in this program. So that'll be due July 15th. So no worries, no stress. It's very short and you have a long time to do it. But just to show you that will be the culmination of the project, that will be the deliverable so that we have an idea of what you'll do with the materials. The second part is the coaching, which is very exciting. For the training of trainers, for this group, we have a core group that will be doing the full Tsvetnik program. So you will all be, again, asked to come to at least 6 of the 7 TOTs. But there may be some people who come just to 1 TOT. Then these are folks that are not participating in this full Tsvetnik program, and they're not doing coaching. But you all are our core group that are going to do the TOTs and the coaching. This part is really exciting. You'll each be matched with an American English language teacher who will be meeting with you individually. So of course we have Kendra and Caroline on today, so you see 2 of our coaches. But they will be able to help you with anything you're learning in the TOTs, but also if you have other things that you want to ask them about, you'll have experts at your fingertips to ask them about anything you may wonder about for your specific instructional context. So this should be really personalized, really tailored. And it's going to be a great form of citizen diplomacy as well. I know our coaches are really excited to learn about you all and your teaching context and your local context. And I'm sure you're excited to learn from them as well. So a few expectations. The coaching will take place once every 2 weeks, approximately, between February and June. You will be scheduling these directly with your coach, so they can be at a time that is convenient for you and your coach. You'll meet online, obviously, and your coach will keep some notes in a spreadsheet to keep you all on track. It is expected that you attend these sessions, and if you can't, please let your coach know. Pretty obvious, but needs to be stated. Make sure you're coming into the coaching sessions with clear goals or questions or things you want to address with your coach. And then your coach will have some tools ready to help you with reflecting upon your teaching and setting goals, and then you'll be working on a feedback loop. So making sure that you have things that you want to talk about when you come into the session, things that you're practicing, and things that you're touching on when you meet again. So again, it'll be very flexible and highly tailored to your specific context. And it'll be, again, really exciting, a really cool form of citizen diplomacy. I'm really excited for you all to work together, and I can't wait to hear about how it goes. The last part of Tsvetnik is the community of practice. So this is something that we're setting up on Telegram. So this will just be a place where you all can connect, and you can connect with the coaches. I'll be putting materials in there. Some things that are just for fun, and also some things that relate to the trainings. You can also share materials if you have anything you would like to share with the group that relates to the trainings or to the coaching. Your coaches may want to put things in there sometimes. You can certainly pose questions to the group if you have something you want to ask, and kind of crowdsource and see what other people have to come up with. It's just an open channel for you all to be able to connect and keep in touch and network a little bit. So again, a good place for group discussions, for sharing resources, and for sharing networking opportunities. And I'm going to give you the link. If you don't have Telegram and you don't want to have Telegram and you can't join, that is totally fine. But I hope you all will, if you do use Telegram, you'll join the channel and the conversation. So that's in the chat. Any questions about these three components, the TOTs, the coaching, and the COP? Pretty clear. And again, you can always reach out to me if you have questions later on.
I have a question, a
Okay.
small
Yeah,
one.
Maria.
How long will the coaching sessions be?
I think good rule of thumb is about 30 minutes, but it's really up to you and your coach.
All right. And the TOTs?
TOTs will be 2 hours.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand how many coach sessions are we supposed to have?
You'll have, let's see, February, March, April, May,
14,
about 10.
10.
Mhm. Yep.
So we
Um,
will be notified of their schedule or how's it
Yes.
going to happen? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in January, that's a good question. In January, my team will reach out to you and let you know, connect you with your coach. So now we have all of the participants and we have all of the coaches. So our coordinator is working on matching based on your context. So if you're teaching kids or if you're teaching the university level, making sure that the experience somewhat lines up. Although our coaches are all really fantastic and I think can speak to any instructional context. Danya, I see your question. There are two groups, but everyone here is doing the coaching support.
May I ask a question quickly?
Yes, of course.
Well, recently I've been involved into developing a course like AI based like techniques and tools for educational purposes. Well, should I state this somehow in order to get the coach who could really help me out and we could work in collaboration in order to get the most of it? And the second interest of mine would be not AI, but what I was looking forward. ESP courses, English for special purposes, again, related to IT sphere, like could it be like matched up somehow with the one who's got some kind of expertise or experience in a similar sphere? Otherwise, it's not gonna kind of overlap, you know, and could not be that efficient in terms of professional goals.
I'm making a note. Yes, I will. If anyone has any specific requests like that, please please email me and let me know if you have anything specific. I have all of your resumes in the form you filled out with some information about your teaching context, but if you have anything very specialized, please do let me know and we'll make sure to make the best match for you. So thank you for letting me know.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, I will resend the Telegram link. Okay, great. Okay, just for fun, I threw in a few little trivia questions in the presentation just to make sure everyone is awake, although I'm the one up before the sun is up. Okay, any guesses? What's the most commonly used letter in the English alphabet? Even know? Olga sent me a direct message. It says E. A, S, E. Right. Yeah, answer's E. Good. Nice job. Lots of vowels. Everyone's guessing vowels except for S. Okay. Expectations. So as I mentioned, you should attend at least 6 of the trainings. We know that life happens. So if you need to miss one, that's totally okay. If you need to miss more than one, just let me know and we can figure it out. Of course, we want to make sure everyone gets their certification and we don't want anyone to miss out. So we aren't trying to pick on you and we're happy to try to work things out. So if you need to miss more than one, there's always a way to check in with me and watch the recording and we'll figure out a way around it. Participate fully with your coach, like attending the sessions. And if you need to miss a session with your coach, letting them know. And then lastly, just submitting that capstone plan with how you're going to use the information from the trainings. So pretty straightforward. And again, we'll work with you. We know you're all busy professionals and things come up. So just let me know if you have any interruptions. Okay, so next steps, I sent everyone a photo video release. If you haven't completed that, if you can, I'm going to put the link in the chat. We do not plan to use your photos or your names anywhere. The only thing we'll be doing is recording the trainings so that you can watch them later, and they'll be on that Tsvetnik tab on the Molodets website, like I mentioned. But they're really just for you all to watch. So that's the reason we have a photo video release. It's just to record the trainings in case someone misses them. It's not, we're not putting these on, we're not putting any pictures or videos like on social media. So you don't have to worry about that. And I'll put that in the chat. This is the photo release. And then the second thing is to complete a pre-survey. This is just a few questions about your familiarity with each of the training topics, so that we can see how familiar you feel with each of the topics now versus we'll have you do it again in July and see. Don't worry, Olga, see you later. So that we can see how you're progressing. Also register for the COP, mark your calendars for the trainings, and then if you want to bookmark the Molodets website. Any questions? Pretty easy, right? Try to keep it easy on y'all. No questions? Okay. Next trivia question. What's the shortest complete sentence in the English language?
Something like I am, no?
Yep. I am. Nice. Good job. Okay, do you want to take a quick break or you want to dive into Molodets? Okay, I see Anastasia's nodding her head. All right, let's do a 5-minute break, grab some coffee, and then we'll go over Molodets and then wrap up. So see you all in 5 minutes. Okay, as you all come back, got another little trivia question for you. What word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Rafara got it, short.
Something like nobody, no?
Oh, nobody is a really creative answer. I like that. Body would be someone. If you add no, then there's no one. It's shorter. Yeah. Good. Nice. today we planned to do the quick introduction to Tsvetnik, which we've been through, and then a little mini TOT on Molodets. Who's familiar with Molodets? Okay, see Maria's hand. Anastasia is shaking her head. Okay. Ludmila knows. Okay, great. So I'm going to quickly go through Molodets. This is, again, a mini TOT. So if you go to the Tsvetnik library on the Molodets website, all of the materials will be there if you want to share this with any of your teaching team or within your local context. The Molodets PowerPoint and handout is there, and there's also a 10-minute video where I give a tour of the website and explain how it works. TOT is training of trainers. Irina, see it in the chat. Molodets. This is again another project that was a partnership between my organization, International Women's Resource Center, and Jennifer's office, the RELO in Russia, and the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. So it's a set of English language learning materials. They're all free. They're really designed for young adults, but they could be used for any age group. The idea was to create curriculum that is really modular and flexible so that teachers could use it in the classroom or students could use it by themselves, or inexperienced tutors could use it one-on-one. And everything is free on the website. It's also on all the social media platforms. And they're really fun, very beautiful, very modern. Everything includes a grammar overview. Every week, there's a new set of materials. So each week on Monday, there's a grammar overview. On Tuesday, there's a packet of grammar exercises. On Wednesday, there's a vocabulary list with practice exercises. On Thursday, there's a text with comprehension questions, and the text is always American culture. And this is the part that is the most fun and unique about the program. Of course, grammar is grammar, vocabulary is vocabulary, but the texts for the reading exercises, the American culture pieces are really, really cool and interesting. And even for you all as teachers who speak English fluently, maybe you would want to read them to learn more about the US. The topics are very, very big, important topics for Americans, but they're ones that are not really touched on in textbooks or other resources, because English language textbooks with American culture materials, it's usually like, this is Thanksgiving, this is Halloween, this is 4th of July, this is George Washington, and the students are all kind of over it. I see Maria nodding. It's kind of boring. So in Molodets, we have really, really fun, interesting American culture material from all the different regions of the US, different subcultures. Of course, the US is huge, so it's very diverse. So there's a lot to cover. So every week there's a reading about an American culture topic, and then there's a podcast that goes with the reading. It matches. The podcast goes over the same topic that's in the reading, but a little bit deeper. So in the podcast, it's actually me with a native Russian speaker. So I am speaking in my English language teacher voice about the American culture topic. And then my co-host, Andre, rephrases what I'm saying in more depth in Russian. So they get the English practice because I'm speaking simply and slowly, but then they do get the American culture material because Andre will explain it in more depth in Russian. The podcasts are usually about 10 minutes, so we know students don't want to listen to like a 45-minute podcast, but they could listen to 10 minutes, you know, on the train, half in English, half in Russian. So again, the podcast matches the reading, and then at the end of every podcast, we talk about different food, because of course food always comes in. And then to go with the reading in the podcast, there are videos. So they're like TikTok style videos. They're all short. They're less than a minute. And so if you think the podcast is like the deeper version of the reading, the videos are the opposite. They're like the short, silly, fun version of the reading. So the videos all relate to the topic for the week, but they're short and fun. I'm in a lot of them. Some of them are like my family members. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are immigrants from Russia speaking in Russian about an American culture topic. There's a wide variety, but the videos tend to be like very fun and silly. So you have a good breadth for the students. And then each week there's a lesson. There's some lesson support written. It's not written like a lesson plan because, of course, we don't know. It varies for everyone if they're teaching in person or online for an hour, for 2 hours. But we put in tips of how to address the grammar, more lesson activity ideas for the grammar, for the vocabulary, and extension ideas for how to teach the American culture content. So there's a lot of material in the teacher guides for how to teach this material. So if you go on to the website, which I put into the chat, at the top you have a diagnostic test. So Irina, they're all on the Molodets texts and podcasts. They're all on the website. They're also on, if you scroll up in the chat, I put in, it's on VK, it's on YouTube, Telegram, TikTok. So you can download everything from the website, molodetsell.com, or the students could access it on any of the social media platforms. So the diagnostic test matches the units that are on the website. So it's really easy for the students independently to take this diagnostic test and then know where they can start in the Molodets curriculum. Or as teachers, you could issue it as well. So for each unit in Molodets, there are 5 questions on the test and they go in order. So the students can see, okay, I got 5 out of 5 in present progressive and I got 5 out of 5 in irregular past tense, but now it's present perfect progressive and I got 2 out of 5. So maybe this is where I should start in the Molodets curriculum so that they know where to start on the website. So they could either choose where to begin based on the grammar level that they test into, or just based on whatever American culture content they want to look at. So you have a diagnostic test here that the students can use or you can use. There's also a checklist. So in a habit tracker, so these are just fun productivity tools. If the students want to like set a goal of they want to finish all of Molodets, or they want to study every day, they can pull these and it's just like filling in check boxes to keep them on track. These habit trackers are really popular in the US right now. American students use them for everything, like studying, exercising, reading. It's just like setting a goal and then checking off a box every time you work towards that goal. Some students don't care about these things, and some students are like, oh, this really works with my brain. I want to be able to check a box. No worries, Maria. We'll see you later. So again, on the website, every unit has these 7 components: the grammar, vocabulary, reading, podcast, video, and lesson tips. So it looks like this for each unit, and you click on the circle and it'll download the materials. So the grammar, vocabulary, and reading are all PDFs, but they're fillable PDFs. So they have the fields that you can type into. So you can use them easily for if you teach online. Let's see. We also have, we've been starting to build out some really fun games to add to the website. This is one I wrote that this is a challenge room, but you all know escape rooms, or these, I think these are gaining popularity in Russia also. See if Gania nodded her head. This is like, you know, starting to be popular as something to do on the weekends. So we started to try to create some escape rooms for English language learning. But we started calling them challenge rooms because we don't want the students to think about escaping. This is like not what we want to call them. So we started to call them challenge rooms. This first one we developed, it's a challenge room or an escape room where the topic is American states, and the grammar focus is practicing present perfect simple. And if you go to the Molodets website, you'll see this there, and there's like an instructional guide, the handouts, the PowerPoints. There's adaptations for if you're doing this in the classroom and you're like printing the materials and really setting up an escape room, or if you want to do it online. So there's adaptations for either side. And we've had some teachers do this in a 2-hour class, and some teachers will break it out so they do one of the exercises every week. You can approach it a few different ways, but there's all sorts of fun things like this on there to check out that we've been developing. So again, yeah, you have the challenge room packet if you're doing the exercise in person, or if you're doing it online. There's the answer key, there's a teacher's guide. There's also a presentation handout here, and this is about how to use this challenge room, but also how to make your own. So I did a presentation about how to make your own, either in, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. So I have some tips in there of how to turn just like a page of a textbook into a really simple escape room, or you can really like make it super involved where there's like props and they're moving around the school and it gets more complicated. So I know, I mean, teachers were all so busy. So I wanted to make sure there's some ways to create these escape rooms that are really easy, and then some that are more complex. So that presentation is there if you want to check out how to make your own. So just a quick introduction to what grammar is covered. Molodets started off at about the A2 level and went to about B1. We have new material starting in January that will be B2. And so the first 6 modules go over this grammar. This is a little screenshot of what the grammar pages look like. We wanted them to be like really clean, simple, modern, not a ton of extra information. You know, sometimes in textbooks, there's so many like call outs and every exception is listed. And we wanted to keep it, again, like much simpler for Molodets. So the grammar introductions look like this. You can see everything's provided both in English and in Russian. So the students are really able to use these materials for self-study if they need to. So if this is something you wanted to just tell your students about and they could use on their own, or you could use it in class. But we wanted to have the Russian language support so that students could work on these independently if needed. So these are some of the vocabulary topics. But I want to get into some of the American culture content that we have. So in Module 1, there are 5 units. The first bit is about American dorms and this lifestyle, what it's like living in an American university dorm. And there's a cast of characters or a group of characters that goes throughout Molodets. So we have the same characters in all of the readings, same American characters. They're all American from different parts of the country, except for one character is named Sava from Molodets. Oh my gosh, from Moldova. So you get this kind of external point of view. So this is about Sava coming from Moldova, moving to Portland, Oregon, and moving into an American dorm at Portland State University. We talk about Julia Child. Does anyone know who Julia Child is? She's a very, very famous, very beloved cook in the United States. She moved to France with her husband in the 1950s. And in the 1950s, we didn't have any French cookbooks that had been translated into English. And French cooking was seen as this like very sophisticated, very complicated thing that like Americans could never access. So she learned French and then she translated French cookbooks into English and then started a cooking show in the US where she was teaching Americans how to cook French food. But she made it like American style because Americans are we're very casual, very laid back. We like easy, simple food, not like complicated French cooking. So she really made it accessible for American culture. And she was also really funny. So she would like drop the chicken on the floor and she would pick it up and say, "Oh, no one saw it. It's fine. Let's keep cooking." So everyone started to really love her for this positive attitude. And we have movies about her and you can watch the TV show on YouTube. And she's just like a really fantastic character that everyone adores. And it's just a really great story of someone learning a new language and putting it to use and making it a part of their home culture. So she's a fun story for English language learners. We talk about going to the DMV. Does anyone know what the DMV is? No, this is the Department of Motor Vehicles. So we have a lot of jokes in the United States about going to the DMV and what a nightmare it is to do anything in this office. And let's see, we talk about things like driving stick, you know this expression? This is what we call like manual transmission. We say driving stick in English. And Americans typically like no one knows how to drive stick. We do not have any manual cars. Yeah, Evgenia. So it's more common, of course, like in Europe, in Russia, like people learn how to drive stick, but Americans don't. And also this expression is so strange in English. So just a few topics. In the second module, these are the topics. For example, the second one, we talk about the suburbs. This is one where we talk really about the history of how the suburbs were created in the US. For those of you who have been to the US, maybe you've seen like our suburb areas are huge. There's not a lot of people in the rural areas. And most people in the city end up moving to the suburbs. Our suburbs go forever and ever and ever. And a lot of that has to do with cars and the car culture in the United States, and everyone drives everywhere. So we talk a lot about the culture around the suburbs and driving, but also the suburbs have a pretty complicated history in the United States with some laws that were very racist and had to do with segregating different types of people. So we talk about that in the podcast. So we do get into some issues that are very sensitive for Americans, but they're really important if students are trying to learn about US culture in the American context. So if it has to do with racism or sexism, these issues, we don't shy away from them. We definitely talk about them in Молодец. So the students aren't just hearing like, oh, it's the US, it's beautiful and wonderful, and we have these holidays. We get into some serious issues. So this topic of the suburbs, we really end up talking a lot about segregation and racism in the United States. We talk about Route 66. I know a lot of my Russian students, they are familiar with this, this road and the history of the road. So we get into Route 66 and motorcycle culture and motorcycle gangs and beef jerky. Do you all know what beef jerky is? This food? Okay, you gotta listen to okay, Kendra's laughing. So beef jerky, it's a dried meat. It usually is like cut into strips and then dried. And then it's kind of a favorite road trip snack because it doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's high in protein, it's filling. So again, for each of the units, we get into some food. So when we talk about Route 66 and motorcycle gangs, so we talk about beef jerky. We talk about Zora Neale Hurston. She was a really famous author, but she was also a cultural anthropologist, and she studied a lot of the subcultures that are in the Southeast in the United States that your students may not be familiar with. Yes, Route 66 and Grapes of Wrath. Yeah, this is a good point, Caroline. In Russia, you do a lot of this. You have kind of fish jerky, the dried fish. So this we have, but it's usually beef. Sometimes it's, you can get buffalo or elk or moose, depending on the type where you are in the country, but typically it's beef. In module 3, we go over some of the abbreviations that Americans use in texting and in social media. We talk about the different types of loans that people take out, like to pay for university. This is a big one. Like university is very expensive here and people take out a lot of money for student loans. We talk about job interview customs in the US, which is great if you have any university students that you teach or young adults. We talk about PTO. Does anyone know what PTO is?
Please turn over.
Svetlana got it, paid time off. So paid time off at work. So this would be for sick time or for holiday or vacation. So I think the US famously worldwide, we don't have a lot of vacation time. We also don't have a lot of sick time. And we don't get a lot of time off for example, if you have a baby, we get 12 weeks unpaid. So in Russia, I know you get a lot more time off when someone has a baby, but in the US, it's 12 weeks. You're allowed to have 12 weeks where they can't fire you, but they don't have to pay you. So we talk a lot about this in the culture of, or how that affects American culture. We talk about Indra Nooyi. She was the CEO of Pepsi, and she was also, she's an Indian immigrant. So we talk a lot about both women in the workplace, also immigrants with these sorts of power positions in the United States, and we talk about immigration from India. And one small thing we touch on is in the US, if you go to Starbucks or something, you can order a chai. But for us, if you say chai, it means Indian tea, this like black tea with milk and spices. So sometimes Americans will say, I want a chai tea, which for Russians, of course, it sounds very silly, right? It's like chai chai or tea tea. But if we say chai tea, it means like an Indian tea. So in this unit, we start talking about like how this became really popular in the US. In module 4, we talk about Simone Biles. Does anyone know who she is? No?
Yeah, she's a gymnast.
Yeah. So she's our gymnast goat, as we say, if you've heard this expression. Not
Yeah,
goat
great,
like
great
kозёл, but
of all times.
greatest
Right.
of all time, right? So goat in Russian, of course, it's not a nice word. But in English, it's good. So she's our greatest gymnast. And we talk about her, but also the topic brings up issues of mental health because in the last Olympics, Simone Biles famously stopped gymnastics because she was having issues with anxiety and depression. So we talk about in American culture how we'd handle mental health and anxiety, depression, how we discuss these topics and how it's changing. So again, we get into some big topics. We don't shy away from some of these harder topics in American culture. We talk about peanut butter, which of course we're not just talking about peanut butter. We talk about the George Washington Carver was the person who invented peanut butter. He was African-American. And so we get into the history of some famous African-American inventors and contributions of Black Americans and how they are sometimes overlooked or not taught in schools. So again, like starting with a kind of soft topic like peanut butter, but getting into some deeper, richer conversations about American culture. In module 5, we talk about Dolly Parton. Do you all know Dolly Parton? I know Caroline knows Dolly Parton, but so she's our most famous country singer, and she's very beloved in the US. You all know the song, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. I feel like everyone knows this song. So that was actually written by Dolly Parton, and she sang it first. And then Whitney sang it. But it's a Dolly song. We talk about states' rights. This is a pretty wild issue for Russians to learn about because it's such a different structure from Russian laws. But in the US, we have what's called states' rights, which means each of the 50 states have the freedom to make their own rules about certain things. So there are a lot more rules that are decided by states versus decided by the federal government. So things like education, gun control, driving, fireworks, alcohol sales, tobacco sales, like the list goes on and on, healthcare. These are wildly different state by state. So if like where I live now in California is so different from where I grew up in North Carolina. The laws about everything are different. There are very few things that we have federal rules about that are the same for everyone. So we go into some of those examples, and some of them are very silly about Like some states allow fireworks and some states do not allow fireworks. And some of them are very serious, like about rules around education and what can be taught, rules around, like, as I mentioned, gun control, voting. These are all different state by state. And then the last module of the year had to do with these topics. We get into some Native American art, and we talk about Native American tribes and reservations in the US. Talk about rodeos, all sorts of fun stuff. And then again, these are all the places that you or your students can find Molodets. We have the website, but then we also post every day on all of these websites or social media platforms. Okay. I've been talking for a long time, but any questions about Molodets? Thoughts, comments, questions? How did I come up with the name Molodets? So my husband is actually from Minsk, and so he's all my in-laws are here in Los Angeles, but they're from Belarus. But I'm hearing Russian all day, every day, and I always just loved this word, Molodets. You know, they're saying it all the time to each other. Oh, no, Molodets, Molodцы, da da da. And so I thought it would be appropriate. I have a lot of Russian speaking students, of course. For them, I'm always saying, oh, молодец, молодец, молодец. Good job. So yeah, this is how we came up with молодец, which of course, usually for English language learning, the title would be in something in English. You know, English language textbooks are always some weird, vague word in English, like voices or but we just thought it would be fun if it was молодец, but written in the Latin alphabet.
Well, just a quick question, how you've selected the particular topics for some modules. I mean, it all came from your own experience as far as I got it. Yeah?
Yes.
Or you carried out some surveys, whatever, like, well, did some
Yes.
quizzes, whatever.
We did some surveys. We did 2 sets of surveys when we were initially in the research phase to begin Molodets. We surveyed students who had been to the US for a while. So we didn't survey students in Russia because it's of course hard for them to say what they want to learn if they don't know what they want to learn. But we surveyed students from Russia who are in the US, and they wrote about topics that they had learned about that they thought were interesting. And we got a huge variety of responses. So some things were small details. Like I remember one student writing about how Americans don't really say university. Like British people say university, Australians say university. Of course, it's a word in English, but in the US, we call everything college. But so for students who are maybe studying in the US, it's confusing for them if they're like, oh, I'm at the University of Southern California. This is a very prestigious university, but everyone's calling it college. And they're like, no, it's college. No, it's it's not college, it's university. This is a very nice university. But we call it college. It doesn't matter if it's undergraduate or graduate, we call it college. Or if it's a city college or community college, we call everything college. So they said, oh, you need to include this, that Americans really don't ever say university, they call everything college. And then there were others that were saying like, oh, there are issues with, there are a lot of issues with sexism in the US that I didn't expect. And so we had this variety of responses where it's like, oh, this one word was strange to me when I came to the US, or this big systemic issue was surprising to me when I came to the US. And then like certain movies, food, music that we would have requests for, and all of that is woven in to those overarching topics that I mentioned. We also surveyed English language teachers, so they talked about topics that their students really responded to, that were outside of the normal, like Thanksgiving and 4th of July lessons. And we also, everyone on the IWRC team, we're all from different parts of the US. So we all have really different experiences. I'm from such a small town in the South, and it's really different from my coworker who grew up in Chicago. It's a different dialect, it's different food, it's different pace, it's different history. So we all really compiled things from different parts of the US, because just like Russia has all these very diverse sections, so does the US. So we wanted to make sure that we were representing the whole country. The new modules will come out in January. In the next 6 modules, we broke up by region. So actually, those of you who are saying you want to visit Alaska, we're going to do an entire module with 5 units on different things from Alaska. So we'll have a module on Alaska and Hawaii, one on the Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, Northwest, and Southwest. So it'll be broken up by region.
So I have 2 questions.
Yep.
So is it a level specific course, and can I recommend it to
Sure.
my beginner adult students?
So the grammar point starts at A2. And so the materials that are there now, they start at A2, they go to B1, B2, so they build. It's all in order by difficulty of grammar. And then, but if you teach a higher level, no worries, Caroline, see you soon. Thank you for joining. If you teach a higher level, there are extension activities listed in the lesson tip document for teachers. So if you are wanting to teach it to a higher level, there are ways to make it more difficult for higher level students. But if they're studying on their own, I think like A2, B1 is a good place to start. And then we'll get into B2, C1 in 2024.
May I
Thank
have
you.
another question about like some joint sessions?
Mhm.
Well, I'm a teacher in a university here in Russia, St. Petersburg,
Mhm.
and I have already had this experience of joint sessions with Finnish University in Oulu city. Can it be like a possibility nowadays to have some kind of joint sessions? Could I like discuss it with my potential, how is it called, like mentor or whatever, to have some joint sessions? I mean, my students, they are of high levels like of English, I'd say starting from B2, C1, C2 level,
Mhm.
and it could be interesting in terms of exchanging like some cultural differences and some other
Yeah,
things.
sure. If you want to email me, we can coordinate.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? Okay. All right, last pop quiz question. Which English word is spelled incorrectly in every dictionary? You probably have the same joke in Russian.
Incorrectly?
Mhm. Incorrectly.
You.
Good. Okay. Just to kind of wrap things up, let's see. I think we can just stay as one group for this. I'm just curious to hear any goals you have for this program over the next few months as we're working together. Like anything you're thinking will be the most beneficial? Anything you're really looking forward to in the TOTs? Anything specific you're looking forward to in the coaching? Anything you want to throw out as far as like plans or goals for participating in the program?
Shall we start? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, my aspiration is like an overall kind of further wrap up based on both coaching sessions and TOTs. Just this wrap up or summary, which could form a basis like foundation for training my colleagues at my institution specifically. And my special interest would be ESP, teaching EAP and ESP to university students. Yeah, and level would range like B2, C1, sometimes B1. It depends really. So yeah, something like that, and just looking forward to it.
Nice.
Thank you.
You see, Albina says to be inspired, to get more motivated. It's a great one. Yep. Julia said to be a better speaker. These are great. Any other goals? You all want to start using escape rooms, I think. Yeah. Okay. So the next meeting again will be February 1st. We have a pretty long break where you all will be off for the holidays. I'm sure. I hope you all have a nice New Year, get some rest, and then come back fresh for our adventure quest, talking about growth mindset. I will, I'll send you all a calendar invite. If you have any colleagues who want to join, they're welcome to join the individual TOTs as long as there's space. So if you want to share the registration link with any colleagues, they're welcome to come to the individual trainings until the registration's full. So again, feel free to share that. And you'll be hearing from me and my team in January about which coach you're assigned to so that you can get started with your coaching sessions in February. All right. And how many upcoming TOTs are there?
6. Days counted, right?
Julia's got it. 7. You have to attend 6, but there will be 7. Good. And then if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, you can always reach out to me and I will answer them. Questions? Bosia?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by individual TOT?
So for example, you all are registered to come to at least 6 of the 7 TOTs and participate in coaching. But we left the option open that if someone else who's not participating in this full Tsvetnik program is just really wants to attend one of the trainings, like if you have a coworker who really wants to learn about growth mindset, they may register just for that February 1st training. Okay, if they want to.
Thank you.
So if you have a coworker or a friend you want to share that information with, it's open to them until the registration's full, and then they'll get an alert saying that that it's full. But because we'll have a little extra space in the Zoom room, so if some extra people want to come, they can attend the individual sessions without participating in the full 6 months.
Okay, and what is the right time to register for the next session? So do it before the Zoom room is full.
Yeah, I would say go ahead.
And
Go
what
ahead
is the
and do
right
it.
time? Can we do it just a month before? Or...
You can do it right now if you want. I
Yeah,
have I
okay.
put the link in the chat, but I'll put it in again.
Okay.
And I'll send you all a calendar invite to hold it as well. Great. It was so nice to spend the morning with all of you, and I'm excited to get started in February. And I
Thank
hope
you
you'll
so
be
much.
checking out Molodets between now and then.
Sure.
In February, I'll quiz you on Dolly Parton and Julia Child and all of these people to see if you were listening to the podcast over your
Thank-
holiday break. Okay.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
S Novым годом.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Good
you.
one. Пока-пока.
Bye.